Hello you amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a brand new Doctor Who topic for this video. So this Sunday is an end of the era. It's the end of the Jodie Whittaker era. It is the end of the Chris Chibnall era as a whole. So I'm going to talk about what I've really enjoyed from this era and what I personally feel about this era. I mean, some eras will say better. This one, it's a bit of a mixed bag. You got a really mixed bag of stuff going on in this era with Jodie Whittaker. I mean, you got the Daleks that have been handled really well. The Cybermen were kind of handled really well until we got to the Timeless Child going on. The Master was handled really well. We had the Sea Devils. I think they were handled okay-ish, not well. But I do like the fact they kept the whole design of the Sea Devils, and the Santarans were handled pretty well as well. I do like the way how the Santarans were handled in Flux. And of course, we had the Weeping Angels handled pretty well. And of course, we had the returns of Unit and Kate Stewart. And of course, Captain Jack Harkness during this era. And I want to say what are the ups and downs for this era for me. So I'm going to talk about each series and personally how I feel about it. So Series 11 is the start of a new era. We got the 13th Doctor crashed into a train, bumping into Ryan and Yaz and Graham and Ryan's auntie, Nana Grace. And then, of course, we had Tim Shaw as a villain who basically is pants. He's not an interesting villain. He does come back at the end of the Series 11, but doesn't really go anywhere. I'm sorry to say that. It really doesn't go anywhere for his storyline. And yeah, that's the only thing about it. Then you go to the Ghost Monument, where the Doctor's basically trying to track down the TARDIS on a planet, which basically becomes the Ghost Monument. And they've got to come across all these deadliest traps, including the mention of the Timeless Child, which is supposed to be this big, massive build-up to something. And then we find out it's the Doctor. That's the Timeless Child. I would have preferred it if it was the Master to be the Timeless Child, to be honest with you, not the Doctor. But hey ho, not going to talk about that. Rosa was a really interesting episode. I do like Rosa. I think this episode should be shown for Black History Month for primary schools and secondary schools. Actors in the UK, that was just terrible. Absolutely terrible in Series 11. That was just a terrible episode. The Pating episode, whatever the name is, not really enjoyable. Not really enjoyed that episode as much. I do like the Pating. I think the Pating's like proper cute though. I actually do want the little pop figure of the Pating because the Pating is actually awesome. But that's the only thing I have to say about it. It's the only good thing about the episode that was actually the Pating. Going into the episode after the Pating, the Demons of Pandora, something like that. I really did quite enjoy that episode. I think the character that had most character growth in that episode was Yaz's Nan. She definitely had a lot of character growth where certain stuff didn't really happen to have character growth. And the fact they kind of showed something in our own history, not like on Earth. I do kind of like historian episodes, and this is a historian episode. I really think it was brilliant. But I wish we got rid of the alien stuff inside the actual episode. The Witchfinders, that was a pretty good episode. I do like the fact we got these kind of like prisoners, alien and mud, and this woman cuts down the tree and it injects the actual alien creature into her bloodstream. I do really enjoy that episode. It takes you away. Crap. Honestly, it was just crap. And then the Battle of Renskalari, something like that. That's just terrible as well. Honestly, that was just a pile of crap as well. Series 11, for me, it's not a great series. Admittedly, it's got some better stuff than Series 2 for me, but I really think this is the weakest link of the Jodie Whittaker era so far. I like what he was trying to do, Chris Chibnall, like introduce new characters, new villains to the Doctor, not actually having recurring villains for the first time, where in Series 1 you had the Daleks, Series 2 it was the Cybermen and the Daleks, Series 3 it was the Daleks, the Makra and the Master, Series 4 it was Davros, the Daleks and the Santarans, Series 5 it was basically the Silurians, Series 6 not really a return, Series 7 it was the Great Intelligence, the Ice Warriors and the Cygons, Series 8 we had a female incarnation of the Master, which was pretty cool to introduce us to. Series 9 we basically had the Cygons basically return once again, and the Daleks. That's just basically it. And plus, Ice Warrior does basically have a cameo in Series 9. Where in Series 10, you got the Mavellans, you got the Daleks, and then, of course, you got the Mondasian Cybermen. You bring back John Sims' Master. Basically going on, plus the return of the Ice Warriors again. Where this series, you kind of had no, basically, returning villains. Which was really interesting to see, but I don't think it really pulled it off as well as it should have done. Dropping into Series 12. Series 12 was pretty okay. I mean, with Spyfall Parts 1 and 2 was a new way to bring in the Master back. I kind of like the way how they've done that, where he basically shrinks the little spy man O, and he goes very close into my pocket. He goes, oh, come on, Doctor, catch up. And the Doctor goes, oh. He goes, you see, that's why I chose it. That's why I chose my name. I did tend to look for the Master, or should I say Spy Master. I really do like the way how that played out in Spyfall Parts 1. And then when you get to Part 2, it's really fun to see Sastruan basically go berserk and stuff. You really see a bit of John Sims' version of the Master in him, and Anthony Ainley's version of the Master, and of course the cunningness of Roger Delgado's incarnation of the Master in Sastruan's performance, which is why I'm looking forward to seeing his return in The Power of the Doctor. Going out of that, we go to, oh my god, we go into Orphan 55. What can I say about this? Well, the only good thing about this, it had the In-Betweener star that played Jay from the In-Betweeners in it, but that's mainly it. That was the mainly good thing about the episode. I'm sorry to say that. I really have to admit that. I really think them having James Blunt, who played Jay in the In-Betweeners, is really a good way to bring some new life into it, I have to admit. Then you go to the Nicola Tilsley Nightmare of Terror, and that was a really good episode. I really did enjoy that one. That one, I have to admit, is one of my favourites out of Series 12, and even out of the Jodie Whittaker era, which, when we get to my top 5 Jodie episodes, you will find out where that place takes place in my top 5. I really did enjoy this kind of story. It's brilliant, it's fantastic, and I do like the whole design because it reminds me so much of the Rachnos, I have to admit. Then of course we go into the Fugitive of the Do. We got a secret incarnation of the Doctor. We have Captain Jack back to throw in the mix. We got the Do. Hang on a minute, Fluffy, what are you doing, Fluff? Yeah, you just wanted to cuddle. Sorry, the cat wanted some bit of fuss. I have to admit, I do like the way Captain Jack returned, where he goes, ha ha, did you miss me? And the way he kisses Graham, thinking Graham's the Doctor, and he goes, how have you been, Doctor? And Graham goes, I'm not the Doctor. I really like the way Graham just goes, I'm not the Doctor. I do like the way how Graham just plays it off that bit. Praxius, not a great episode, I have to admit. Praxius was not a brilliant episode for me I never really enjoyed that one as much, because it really retconned Adrix's death from Earthshock for me, because it basically has the Doctor materialising around a crashing spaceship, where the 5th Doctor couldn't really do that when Adric died, so it really feels like, oh, the 13th Doctor's more better than the 5th Doctor, or technically the Doctor never really gives a crap about Adric and just decided to let him die. Yeah. After that, I really do get kind of muddled up what's next, because I haven't seen Series 12 for over a year. The Haunting of Philadelphia was another good episode. I really do like that. And The Lone Cyberman. I really do like Ash the Lone Cyberman. Association of the Cybermen, again, that was a really great episode. And then the Timeless Children basically do push the Cybermen into more of the back to focus on the Doctor and the Master. And the Master basically creating Cybermasters from the Time Lords that basically he's basically just left in Chrono Sleep to convert into Cybermen. I have to admit, I do enjoy The Timeless Child a little bit, but not as much. If I was going to say what's my favourite episode out of Series 12, it would definitely have to be Nicola Tilsley Nightmare of Terror. I really do enjoy that one, followed by Association of the Cybermen. I do like Association of the Cybermen. It's a brilliant episode. And then going into Revolution of the Daleks. Now, that was another good one, because the Doctor's in prison following from the events after the Timeless Children. So the Doctor's basically in prison. We've got Captain Jack back to break her out of prison. We have such good cameos from the Cigarettes, the Silence, A Weeping Angel, the Bating, and Ood. We have so many cameos of different alien species in the Doctor. I believe we actually saw a Crinoid as well. I had a feeling, like when you see all the other cellmates, I feel like I keep seeing like a crinoid, and I'm like, they actually brought in some classic Who monsters in. I actually do think there's a crinoid every time I keep rewatching it. I need someone to tell me that it's not a crinoid, it's just something else. I really do think it could be a crinoid though. Going into Doctor Who Flux now, Series 13. Now, these are the specials are called Series 13 specials in the new Steelbook. So I'm going to talk about all of these episodes in Series 13. Doctor Who Flux part was pretty enjoyable. I do like the Halloween Apocalypse. I do like the War of the Santarans. I absolutely love Village of the Angels. Village of the Angels is the better story out of all of the part of the Flux. The only thing about Flux that really does me head in is that the whole thing with Swarm and his sister and the Grand Servant don't go anywhere. That's the thing. They don't really go anywhere. They're just basically, the Grand Servant gets trapped through a door by Kate and Unit and the TARDIS team, where Swarm and his sister ends up being killed by an alien presence on the planet Time. Yeah, that's basically it. But the rest of Flux was really brilliant. I do like Flux. It gives us a great introduction to John Bishop's character, Dan. I really do enjoy Dan. He's one of my favourite companions out of the... so far at the Jodie era. It's one of my favourite companions. I do like Yaz as well. I actually have to admit, I do like the way how the Santarans were handled as well. The Santarans weren't handled really, really well in the Moffat era. But I really think in Chibnall's era, Chibnall has just got them spot on. The way they are resembling warlike creatures, the way you see them smashing through the door in episode 5 of Survival of the Flux. I do actually enjoy like the callbacks into the 70s and early 60s where you kind of have Unit coming in and you got, oh, that's a new Colonel, Lethbridge Stewart. He's here to take over Unit for us. And this is basically after the events, after the War Machines with the old post office job, which basically was the first Doctor story. So I really do enjoy like little cameos to other Doctor Who stories. And I do like the way how Kate Stewart gets a machine and goes, you two have had Pollux to a TARDIS. Specifically, perhaps that TARDIS there. I mean, I've got my own TARDIS here, so, and you know I'll probably have background radiation from my TARDIS. So, you never know, I could actually have. I honestly have to admit, I do like Flux. And then when you get to Eve of the Daleks, after the whole point with the Santarans, basically using the Dalek ships and the Cyber ships to basically try and destroy the Flux, but the Santarans basically betrayed them and they blamed the Doctor for it. And the fact that the Doctor just didn't really do much, just let the Daleks and Cybermen and the Santarans just basically blow up, and the Daleks come after the Doctor for that consequence in Eve of the Daleks. And I really do enjoy that. And I do like the way how they're caught in like a time loop, and every time in the time loop it goes quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker until they find a way out of it. Even though the Doctor basically just blow up the Daleks with the new machine guns, I really do enjoy that one. Legends of the Sea Devils, I really enjoy this episode because it's the return of the Sea Devils. I have to admit, I like the fact that we got this story with them in the past, then we have them in modern day for the Sea Devils, and then you go to Warriors of the Deep for a far future story with them and the Silurians. I have to admit, I do actually like this design of the Sea Devils. They look so much well done to their counterparts in the Sea Devils. Honestly, the only thing that isn't is just literally electric swords and stuff, not the actual like handguns. But don't forget though, these sea creatures are basically more advanced than us humans because they are from Earth before us humans evolved. So I really do enjoy that. Talking about Power of the Doctor and what I'm really looking forward to and what my hopes are. Well, my hopes for Power of the Doctor is that we get a big consequence for the Doctor. Now, when I say that, she's been growing really, really close to Yaz lately in series 12 and 13. So I kind of do want Yaz to die. It's not me being horrible to Yaz. I really do enjoy her character. I really think she had some good character growth in Flux, and specifically way better than when she started, because when she started in series 11, she had no character growth. But now she's had like a bit of character growth. I really kind of want her character to die, so the Doctor's there like thinking, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to keep Yaz safe? And then I would just like to see Yaz die in front of her, and the Doctor basically having to deal with that consequence with the Master and the Cybermen and the Cybermasters and the Daleks, you know. I really would like to see Yaz die. Dan, I don't really want dead. I want Dan to go and get his happy ever after with Di from Flux. I really do like Di, and I do want Dan to go and get his little bit of happiness with Di. talking about Ace and Tegan's return, I want them to survive. I honestly do want them to survive. Ace is my all-time favourite companion. I would actually like to see Ace come back at another point in the future. Say, with another multi-Doctor story or something, I would like to see Ace return. And Tegan as well. Tegan, I don't really want dead either. I think the only way you can have a big consequence to the 13th Doctor is if they kill off Yaz. Because Yaz and the 13th Doctor have grown really, really close to each other. And the fact that out of the 13th Doctor's original companions, Yaz is the only one that's still basically there. So to actually have her original companion die in front of her eyes, I really think that will be very dramatic. And the Doctor be like very guilt written, you know. And the fact that we got the Master of the Train saying, you're going to be erased from time, Doctor. It's like, I would like to see something happen with that, but I do kind of want Yaz to die, and I really do want Yaz to die. I really think that would be a great consequence for the Doctor, to see Yaz basically die. That would be a big consequence in Doctor Who, don't you think? So, what I was going to say, what is definitely the strongest series for Jodie Whittaker's era? I have to admit, it is Series 12. Series 12 is a bit stronger than Series 11, but Flux is more times stronger than Series 11, but I think Flux, even though I would actually like to put Flux above Series 12, but for me, out of Jodie's run, I have to admit, Series 12 has definitely got the strongest stories in there, where Flux, basically, it does kind of fall flat at the end of the Vanquishers, where everything kind of just rushed up to make the point, and the Doctor basically put in the fob watch inside the TARDIS so that way she can't get her memories back. So, yeah, what do you think of the Jodie Whittaker era? What are your hopes for the power of the Doctor? What's your favourite series out of this era? Is it Series 12, 13, or is it 11? Let me know in the comments. Please do like, subscribe, and share, and join for more awesome Doctor Who content. Have a cracking day.